So let's begin with me just explaining what it was like when I began to speak the languages of light, because I'd never heard there was any such thing as the languages of light when I began to speak it back in 2002. So I didn't know that it would even happen, and I didn't know that I could even do it. And that's how light language works, because it's something that tends to get activated when the soul is ready to speak it. Now, the languages of light, this is the sacred language of the soul. It's really, the languages of light are the primary connection between us, our soul self, our I am presence, our eternal soul beingness, and the divine. They are our connection point to the divine within our I am soul, but they're also our connection point to other dimensions of reality and other multi-galactic energies and more expanded spiritual vibrations. So the languages of light are like a coding mechanism. And when we speak the languages of ourselves, the sacred language of soul, we are actually coding ourselves to expand. Of course, we can use it for others as well, and we'll get into that a bit later. But primarily, when we speak the languages of light, we're tuning into the connection point with our own divine self. So this language, when it pours out of my mouth, it comes spontaneously. I've no intention of speaking it. It just comes. And it comes when I'm relaxed. It comes when I'm not knowing and I'm getting out of my head into my heart. So the primary requisite for speaking the languages of light is connecting with the heart mind. So as we begin today, I want all of you to just put your left hand or your right hand, I don't mind, onto your heart chakra. And I want you to feel into your timeless, eternal soul self, your heart energy, your peace and your love. And one of the things that really helps to develop our connection point to our heart and our soul is the Magenta Pyramid meditation, which is in the Transcripts of Mary Magdalene teaching series. So we're just going to do this particular meditation to begin. If you put your right hand over your heart chakra and your left hand here just below the diaphragm, this is connecting to the soul, this is connecting to the heart, and just shut your eyes. And just take a big breath in so that we get out of our own way, get out of our mind and into our heart. Now just imagine that there's a beautiful magenta, purple pink colored pyramid, and it's coming down over your body. And the base of this magenta pyramid is at the level of the diaphragm, just the solar plexus chakra, just below the heart chakra, at the bottom of the diaphragm. And the apex of this pyramid is about 2.5 feet above the head, the level of the 10th chakra. So we're just creating this beautiful magenta pyramid. And just imagine at the lower left-hand point of the magenta pyramid, you're putting the energy vibration of peace. Peace. Just think and feel peace. And in the lower right-hand base of the pyramid, think and feel the energy vibration of love. So it's peace and love. And then just reach up with your mind to that point at the apex of the pyramid and think and feel the energy vibration of joy. Joy. Now, if joy is eluding you in your life right now, don't worry about that. You're still getting it. Just say the word to yourself, I reach up to joy. Joy is that part of your eternal, timeless soul self that can cope with anything and doesn't get buffeted around by anything that happens in your life. That eternal soul self is pure joy. So reach up now to that beautiful joy energy. And as you breathe in, reach up to the joy. and up to the joy. And just allow yourself to expand out that beautiful peace, love, and joy all around you. So you're sitting in a bubble of peace, love, and joy. When we get into this space, it's much easier to connect to the sacred language of the soul, the light language that we want to speak. It doesn't really matter whether you're speaking language out of your mouth, whether you're writing language, whether you're singing the language, or whether you're just sitting, communing with the I am presence of yourself. That is what the state that we're trying to get to, because every time we tune to this beautiful peace, love, and joy, I am presence of our own soul, which is eternal and always there, waiting behind the wings to come out, like the new sun shining through us. When we connect to that energy, we connect to the true heart of ourself. We connect to that true eternal source of that God within, that God, goddess within. And that is the foundation, the jumping off point for speaking the languages of light. You know, in the program, Speaking the Languages of Light with Thoth, that Thoth was teaching, the activation codes that he's speaking, they're like catalyst codes. They're like energy codes to help us activate. But the most important thing that we can do is to be peace and love. And one of what we can do every day is just to maybe put the timer on our phone for 11 minutes, that's enough, and sit with our hands on our heart chakra and just feel into these trinity of vibrations of peace in the lower left, love in the lower right of the pyramid, and joy is like the sun over top of us. And as I said, if you can't feel joy in your life right now, just affirm it with the power of God that I am joy, because that's our birthright. That's who we are eternally. And in our life, with our day-to-day buffeting it around and this bill, and you lose your job and you don't know what you're going to do in your physical life, we move away from that eternal joy of ourselves. But we can get it back by affirming it daily, because when we repeat thought forms and repeat emotions like peace, love, and joy daily, they become entrained in our consciousness, they become entrained in our energy field, and they become entrained in us. And they become us over time, you see. What we think, what is who we become, the actions that we take, the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we have, the repetitive chopping wood and carrying water of life, the day-to-day repetition. This is who we become. And this is why the Ascension Library is so important and such a valuable tool that Spirit have given us all, because when we listen to some of the recordings, if we get a bit out of balance, we come back into that joy, that truth of who we really are. So the languages of light is like the sacred songs of our soul. And when we speak these languages, and they are multifaceted, they are many. It can be the language of our soul's earliest beginnings. And when we start to speak the languages of light, which sounds like baby talk, like gibberish coming out of our mouth, and we just have to trust it like a baby. When a baby learns to speak, the baby just speaks. The baby doesn't say, I wonder what I'm speaking. Maybe it's not right. I don't know how to do it properly. The baby doesn't do that. And we have to be like the baby. We just have to trust that whatever is coming out of our mouth, just like a baby, is what is meant to come out of our mouth. And that's the baby gets into the joy, you see. So we have to get into the joy of just speaking whatever verbal, strange sounding, weird words happen to feel right for us. It doesn't actually matter. It's about allowing the song of the soul. It could be like humming, like it could be singing, it could be It could be something from the heart, like it could be something that we feel is being channeled through us by another being that we may be really connected to, like the goddess Tara, for example. Tara is behind me in the big painting. This is white Tara. So from white Tara, let's bring a blessing through in the language of light. This is like transmitted from Tara, not from my own soul. Miki. Kalkalishte salabalakalishokasia. Amalakudi salakadi sebelakata kia davida. Atabalakasi rishloisa. Ekoti sebedagalakasa. Adakalita bedagadesolokajdaka. And you see, I don't think, what am I saying? I don't think, what am I saying? I just know what I'm saying, but I don't know when I'm saying it, if you know what I mean. I say now to myself, okay, what is it that I was saying? And the knowing comes to me. It's not like I'm intellectualizing it. So from my heart, I'm saying, okay, what was that? What were those words? And those words were like a blessing for the people of light as you are, a blessing for the beloved souls that you are, to open into the fullness of yourselves, like the flower. She's talking about the flower, and she's got flowers around her. So she's saying, like the flowers open from the blossom, you are all opening from the bud, like coming into bud, and then the blossoms, and then opening. So this whole ascension process is a very powerful opening for all of us into the blossom, the flowers that we truly are, the soul self, the joy of the soul that we truly are. This is ascension, really. And to carry that joy, that blossoming of who we really, really are on a soul level into every aspect of our physical daily lives, even when we have a challenge come up in our life, to sort of laugh at the cosmic joke that the universe is playing on us as a little, okay, are you going to stay in your heart center? Are you going to stay in your peace and your love? Or are you going to let this person who's interrupted you, or this letter that's arrived, or someone's bad day affect us? No, we're not, because we're going to stay in the energies of the God or the goddess that we are.